Welcome in, everybody, to the Dynasty Brews podcast. As always, we are streaming right now on Facebook, Twitter, and YouTube, and we are on Belly Up TV at 9 a.m. on Saturdays and 6 p.m. on Sundays. And our new time slot, we are doing a doubleheader, noon on Mondays, so that is noon to 2 p.m. on Sundays. As always, Double J is in the house. That is right. It's Justin and Justin. Justin is back with us after taking a little break with a little bit of a sickness. How you doing today, Justin?
Doing better than last week. I mean, I was sleeping this time last week, so.
Yeah.
You don't get to do that much when you have 4 kids, so.
Hey, your wife is a real trooper because she lets you sleep instead of fucking like having the kids like come wake you up or some shit. Like
this is true. I was more scared about the consequences that were coming on Saturday when I was healthy, but this is true, yeah.
Hey, man, the real soldiers, they pull through in the end. I mean, I know my wife is the same way, like she is the type of person that's like, if you're sick, just fucking stay in bed. I'll take care of everything. So when it comes down to it, like, here's for the ladies. Here's for the ladies. And as you can see, if I can get it turned right, look at that. Ed Reed. Quick shout out to Union Brewing Company doing some really cool stuff with their beers and their can designs. We have Ed Reed on that one. It is the GOAT IPA. And if you know Ed Reed, he is definitely the GOAT in many regards.
Yeah, I'm working with them on my photo next, so.
Yeah. That's going to be a good one,
they do call me the GOAT.
No, they're going to call it the Mad IPA, right?
Mad IPA.
Yeah. Hey. Dad jokes all day.
Anyways, if you're still listening, the show will start now because I'm sure you're over these jokes already. So,
well, speaking of the show starting now, let's talk about some news, man. You've been away, but the news has not stopped. Colin Kaepernick is back at it. He's, I think, made his first workout. Last year he had a workout with Seattle. This year he's having one with Las Vegas, the Raiders. It has come out that, he worked. That's right. Your thumbs up on that one, right, guys? But he had a nice workout today. Josh McDaniels has pretty much come out and said, hey, this is not a competition thing. We don't want to bring in competition before Derek Carr. I think Derek already knows that this is his team. And so at this point, we kind of look at the Kaepernick thing. He's 34 years old. Not going to start in the NFL, a backup. But, if he can really still throw it, that was the one thing that was left. I'm not going to roster him or anything, but if he could still throw it, he could still be a lot better than who's on their team right now as a backup. Nick Mullins, that's who's on their team as a backup.
Define still throw it. I'm old enough to remember when he played against the Chicago Bears and went like 1 for 7 and like -5 yards. So
that's fair enough.
I'd rather roster Drew Brees than Colin Kaepernick at this point. If it comes down to, if you're in dire straits and you're sitting there with Jordan Love as your quarterback on your roster and that's it, I guess maybe you can get both of them for a pretty nickel, but I wouldn't expect much from either.
Oh, you can have the nicest of nickels. I'll even put in all my quarters if you take Jordan Love off of my roster.
I'll take Jordan Love off your roster. I love me some Jordan Love.
Well, you know what? Here's the thing. He would have had to have made it on my roster first. He never made it on there, so I never had faith in the kid.
That's saying something. I've seen your rosters.
That is very true. Some of them are a little bit nightmarish. But anyways, so obviously this Kaepernick news comes out. But actually some more interesting news, more relevant news to the fantasy world. Out in Saints camp, we have Jameis Winston who's doing drills right now. But we don't have Michael Thomas doing drills. Reports have come out that Michael Thomas is more of a timeline of training camp. He's had lingering injuries, mostly in the lower body. Are you worried about this drafting wise? His ADP has already fallen, but,
I
Is it
mean,
going to be another year of a wasted pick? Is what I'm getting at.
I'm past the point of worrying, and now it's more so just like I've accepted the fact that I have essentially doused my pick with gasoline and lit a match. Yes, I'm not exactly enthusiastic about 2021 Justin buying Michael Thomas. Was not a good decision on my part. I will never forgive myself. If you follow me and I advised you to do that, you may kick me in the face next time you see me.
You're
Just,
officially unfollowed. That's the whole solution there. We can
I
never
mean,
trust you again.
I got bad takes. I do have those every now and then, but I'm still brewing up championships, my man. Still won those titles in
That's
spite
what.
of in spite of the gasoline.
That's in spite of the gasoline and the horrible smell that came from it. But on the Jameson Winston news, does that give you some hope for maybe him being somebody that you want to target maybe later in like a 2 QB league?
Yeah,
Um,
I actually have him. Yeah, I like Jameis Winston. I liked him last year. I think, I'm a little bit less. My main concern lies in the fact that last time I saw Dennis Allen coaching as a head coach, Derek Carr looked like he was an all-time bust. So that's my concern. Jameis Winston's got the talent. Um, you know, I'd still take Kenny Pickett over him. I had that debate with our good friend Steve Gattiari the other day on Twitter. Um, but or the Dave Gattiari, sorry. Um, with Gattiari, so we got into that one. But I'm good with Jameis. I think Jameis has top 12 value. I really I struggle with trusting Dennis Allen players on my roster. So, and by the way, I know I said that we lit that kerosene and we dumped the gasoline on Michael Thomas, but at this point, I'm gonna just keep going with the everyday low prices, Walmart style. If I can get them for a third, I'll do it because the chances of a third round pick having the upside of a Michael Thomas is too enticing for me.
so I don't
It'll be
know.
20. It'll be 2040, and I'll still be buying Michael Thomas. So.
Well, at that point, Tom Brady will be going into his 50th consecutive year of being number one quarterback. So, but for Michael Thomas, here's a guy that I finally bought into. I didn't buy into him when he was wide receiver one. I thought that he was kind of just one of those guys that was going to come and go. And I finally bought into him. And now this news comes out, and I'm just like thinking to myself, shit. Did I finally buy in too late? Did I really do this right now? And like you said, did I light gasoline and am I about to throw a match on this pick? Because this was going to be in a lot of my rosters my third or fourth wide receiver. So to a point, I'm like, okay, I'm good, but I thought I was going to be way better off, and we don't
Yeah,
know. Hopefully,
I'm.
he comes back.
There's a league where I'm built to win it. I did a trade with you, and I'm supposed to be in it to win it, but you start three receivers. He was my number three. I'd already lost Calvin Ridley, so I kind of needed this guy to do it. So I feel you, but it's just OTAs. Last year we saw Aaron Rodgers chilling in Hawaii. I'm a little bit less skeptical of. I think they just don't want to rush him, is what I'm hoping the story is. I think they want him to just rehab and be 100% for training camp. That's what I'm going to go with. My hope.
But this is
Because they
2
can't.
years.
There's a lot of people saying they're going to trade. They can't trade. They literally cannot trade him. The cap just won't work for that. So that ship has sailed, and it's just where we are right now. He's going to have to play for the Saints. Aside from Jameis Winston, one guy that everyone's scared as crap on that I'm like all in on is Alvin Kamara. I just think Kamara is in for a huge season this season. And if you own him and you're looking to sell and get younger, I'd sell mid-season because I think he's going to bounce back. I think that this offense is going to be built for him. I think Dennis Allen's going to want to play defense and run the ball, and they're going to do a lot of bubble screens and all the stuff that they've been used to in the past.
And that's a valid point. I think a lot of people are just worried about, obviously the legal matters that are facing Kamara. Just like you've talked about with Cook, and obviously we all know with Deshaun Watson. Until we really figure this out, nobody's going to really truly know the value. Because right now, I'm getting Deshaun Watson.
I mean, even if he misses
and
4 games, though, I mean, who cares? He missed. How many running backs finish and play all 16 of your games?
Well, no, you make a point. How many running backs do? But how many running backs do you draft in the first or second round, or even tail end of
Dude,
the
we were
second
taking
round, going
Le'Veon
into the
Bell.
third round,
We were
that
taking Lev
are
Bell, man.
automatically going to be out 4 games, the first 4 games at that. I mean, those could be setting games. Those could start setting up like your roster.
The best thing you got on your side though is in those first 4 games. Week 1, you're getting whoever the hell is going to break out of whoever's going to come off the bus, because you're going to get that week 1 rookie who no one expects to start, a la Eli Mitchell, a la Philip Lindsay. We get that guy every single year that just comes out of nowhere. Tariq Cohen 1 year. So whoever that is, that's going to be the guy you're going to pick up after. You're going to blow your fab for that guy, and then that 3 weeks later you're going to get freaking Kamara back. That's the way I do it every year. Every year it works. I mean,
or you could just go out and grab Tony Jones.
I literally spend 100% of my fab on whoever breaks out week 1. Last year it was Eli Mitchell. It was Lindsay before that. It was James Robinson the year before. So it was, those are it just every year you're going to have one of those guys. You're going to just blow your money on them, and that's okay. It's a dynasty league. Who cares?
But you're always going to have that one owner in the league that thinks exactly like you, and that's when the waiver wire comes into factor. You have to be shitty.
4 years has never happened to me.
4 years and it's never happened to you. Well, like I said before, I want to play in your.
People get too scared to blow 100% of their fab week 1 because, like, well, what if it was just like 1 week? What if it was 1 week? I don't care. It's a dynasty league. How many players are actually out there on your waivers that are worth a shit?
Let's not all forget back-to-back years of Malcolm Brown. 27 points the first game, probably 10 points the rest of the season.
I'm always but it's always rookies, man. It's always the UDFAs. It's not these Malcolm Browns.
Yeah.
So I will say, I was big on Malcolm Brown last year. I actually got him a lot in the offseason.
I know. You're big on that LA Rams roster, right? You're
always very big.
Daryl Henderson all the way.
If you ask people that know me, my biggest thing is I find these sleepers, and I get so obsessed with it that I actually predict these sleepers. And then, like, 1 year, my big sleeper was, you may have heard of him. His name was Mark Ingram. He was traded to the Ravens, and so
wasn't Mark Ingram like a first-round pick? How's that a sleeper?
Dude, when he went to the Ravens that offseason, he was like left for dead.
What? He was the number 1 running back on that roster. He was coming off of I think a Pro Bowl season with the Saints.
No, he wasn't a pro. No, because they had Kamara there. Dude, I remember I got him for a 2nd-round pick. And then I ended up parlaying that into a 1st-round pick in Melvin Gordon in the middle of the season.
I'm pretty sure that might have been the year that he came off of his surgery. So you might be right. He might not have gone to the Pro Bowl off after that year. But let's see.
I mean, my thing was I knew what Greg Roman had done, because Greg Roman prior to that had never not had a top 10 rushing offense. You just got to follow the trends with these sleepers. But I could talk about sleepers all day.
That was the year that he had the suspension for PED use. Okay. That was the year before the Saints. That's why you probably got him for cheap, because of that. But anyways.
And then I got Philip Lindsay. I mean, I won the league that year. It was a good year. This is why you listen to that. This is why you listen to us. I'm going to gloat. I'm going to
Philip Lindsay, yeah. And if you want, Dynasty Matt is predicting Tyler Beatty this year.
Tyler Beatty or Snoop Connor.
That's right. The Jacksonville.
I'm also very much into Alexander Madison. And the guy I think is the real starter in LA, I'm very big on Darrell Henderson. So those are all cheap guys to get, and I guarantee you that at least one of them, probably 2 of them, will be worth something.
Well, if we had a site, we could put all these up there. So
probably
wink.
What do you think? I mean,
But
out of those four, before we get into the the meat and potatoes of this content, out of those four, who do you think I'm absolutely fucking crazy on? Like, who are you like, I don't know what you're thinking, you're just way off. And then who are you like, I can buy it?
Daryl Henderson, I think you're a little bit crazy on. I'm not going to say you're absolutely crazy on him, but I think you're a little crazy on him. And that's
Why
just
is that? That's the
because,
one that I feel like he's the safest of the four, to be honest.
but here's the thing. If you know a Shanahan or McVay system, you know when they have their guy, they will run him into a damn wall until there's nothing there. So Daryl Henderson will need Cam Akers to be ran into a wall, pulverized into a meat grinder before he is given the touches he would need to be a running back too.
Man, Cam Akers, it looked like
Now,
me
now,
running.
the guy that I don't think you're crazy on, and this is because I don't have the most I'm just not high on J.K. Dobbins anymore, is Tyler Beatty. I think Tyler Beatty has a good chance because this offense is going to it's going to be looking for an identity as a run game now.
I think
And I think they're going to be looking for somewhere to throw, Marquise Brown's targets. Everybody thinks, oh, it's going to go to Mark Ingram or Rashad Bateman. Most of the time, vacated targets from a wide receiver end ends up going mostly to the running back. So I think him being a pass catching running back could be huge in that offense. So he's one of the guys I think you're not so crazy on, especially for his value right now.
So, there's those four running backs. And if you're doing like these best ball things, I'm all going receiver early. I'm taking those four. I'm taking Clyde. And then I'm also taking Aaron Jones. Give me those guys. First pick, you go receiver. You anchor yourself to Aaron Jones, and then you draft these guys late. And I think it's a good recipe for success this year.
And both those guys, vacated receiving targets. Beautiful. Yep. Beautiful. Anyways, before we get out of control and off topic.
Let's go on another tangent.
Yeah, let's go. Let's find another thing to talk about. You were talking about a little while back, probably about 5 minutes back, about Aaron Rodgers going to Cancun. Let's talk about a couple guys that didn't show up to OTAs because of contract discussions. And I want you to tell me on a scale of 1 to 10 how worried you are about drafting these guys. First off, I'm going to give you Lamar Jackson. Didn't show up for OTAs today. How worried are you about drafting him in this upcoming draft?
-10.
-10. Wow.
That dude's going to play. I don't think he wants to be in Baltimore, but he's not going anywhere this year. We're taking Joe Burrow over him. We're taking Dak over him. We're talking about a guy who makes his bread and butter living on the ground, but we're taking Trey Lance top 12 because of what he can do on the ground. Give me a guy that's proven he can do it. I was out on Lamar when he was top 2 in Dynasty, ahead of Josh Allen. Now I'm back in at his, QB4, QB6 range cost.
Mm-hmm.
Give me that all day. That dude's going to play. That dude wants to play. He's missing OTAs. I don't know what the story is there, but at the end of the day, I'll bet you anything that he's going to play week 1. He's going to be the starter somewhere.
Well, it all comes down to the contract. I mean, this guy is obviously, he knows that he is the heart and soul of that Baltimore offense. He knows that he makes everything move. So he wants to get paid like that.
I don't think he wants to be there.
I mean, he probably doesn't now that Marquise Brown is gone. Like, they've literally said, yeah, don't worry about it. We're just going to run it, more than 50% of the time. We're going to be the highest percentage run team out there because we have no options on the outside. Everybody's hyping up Devin Duvernay. Devin Duvernay is this small guy up the center. Like, he's a slot. I mean, it doesn't.
Crochet.
Yeah, James. There is the guy that is real bottom of the barrel digging right there. Everybody wants Rashad Bateman to be something. I love Rashad Bateman, but I mean, let's face it. If he doesn't have anything on the other side of him, everybody's just going to be like, okay.
He's got Mark Andrews, though. I mean, they're going to be fine at the end of the day. I really do think they're going to be fine. I think that they probably need another receiver.
They do.
But at the end of the day, I mean, Lamar Jackson is he's a grinder. He's going to find a way to win. And if the going gets tough, he'll just go take a deuce at halftime and then go come back in the fourth quarter and win the game for you.
Lighten the load. That always works. So let's move on. Kyler Murray. How worried about Kyler Murray are you?
I wouldn't. I've been worried for a while about it. I'll go 5. I mean, I'm still drafting him. My main concern is that he's got that whole, what do they call FU money, right? They say if you got like $1 million and you go into work one day and your boss pisses you off, it's like FU, I'm out of here. Like Kyler's got FU options, right? He's got baseball in his back pocket. He can just leave whenever he wants to if things don't go his way. You look at that playoff game, he looked like trash. He looked like, a Boy Scout playing in the NFL. And that's just, if things don't go well for him, if he doesn't get the money he's going to want, then he's just going to be like, F you, I'm going to go play baseball. God gave me the talent to do both. That's what I'm going to do.
See, I see it a different way. I give him a rating of about maybe 1. I don't worry about him. I think that definitely you have a good point. Like he's saying, hey, if you're not going to fucking pay me, then we're going to say deuces and get out of here. But I think Marquise Brown was a good little compensation for him. I think that he's going to want to go out there with his boy and he's going to want to throw touchdowns all day to him. But my problem is I think baseball is off the table. I don't think going to a different team is off the table for him.
I don't think baseball is ever off the table. I think you can play baseball way longer than you can play football. Unless you're
Tom Brady. For way more money too. But everybody's going to always question his like abilities if he just quits football and just leaves. Like everybody's just going to be like, "Oh, okay, cool. You just quit baseball and left. So what are you now? Just a quitter?" I mean, come on.
He's just summoning his inner Eric Cartman. Screw you guys. I'm going home.
But yeah, I mean, I think he's going to want to come back. And I think that he hears all the hype, people saying the same thing you just said. Like he got beat up in that wild card game. He just got, wow. Like we were expecting a lot more.
Playoff ball's different. You want to talk about like coaches that have like gotten screwed. I thought that the Cardinals coach was rightly fired after one season, but you lost me when you went and hired Cliff Kingsbury, a guy who's just been terrible. I mean, you got Kyler Murray. You could have done so much better with your coaching staff. I'm more so out on Kyler because, man, I don't know. I want to love the guy. Like when he played last season, he had those performances when he had 5 touchdowns, but there was a stat out there, and I'll try and find it at some point during the show, but the drop-off from with and without DeAndre Hopkins was, like, ridiculous. He only had, like, 2 games, I want to say. And I'm not saying this is exact, but I know it was ridiculously different. There was only 2 games where he threw 2 or more touchdowns without DeAndre Hopkins on the field.
And I bet you those were probably one of the first 2 games that Zach Ertz was on the field because I remember Zach Ertz came into the picture and had like a little bit of a tear during the middle of the season.
Yeah,
that trade deadline happened, and afterwards it kind of just it's slowly faded for this team.
I don't know if that's more damning of the Jaguars and how much money they paid for Christian Kirk, or if it's more damning on Kyler Murray that he couldn't get. One of those stories is true. I lean towards the Jaguars being buffoons, but we'll see.
I mean, at this point, the Jaguars just screwed everybody else.
You want to talk about like altering reality, like you want to talk about like the Marvel Cinematic Universe, like in another world, running backs are getting paid what Christian Kirk's getting paid, and we are. Christian Kirk sets the wide receiver market up for Devontae Adams and Tyreek Hill to just blow up the entire market.
And speaking of the wide receiver market, we got our last guy on, Deebo Slamwell. How concerned are you about Deebo going into the season?
Let's just say that I have him as much as I can get him. I love me some Deebo. I think he is underrated when he's healthy. And I'm not concerned because no matter what, that dude's going to ball. He's fast. And without him, I don't think the 49ers win a playoff game or even win their Week 17 game. I mean, that's how important this dude is. So if he's not a Niner, he's still going to be a freaking stud.
Yeah. And that's the thing. I think that as far as his capital goes right now, I'm a little worried. I'm a little worried because a lot of that money is right now it's tied up in Jimmy G. And that's a whole nother issue. Like, reports are coming out now that obviously his surgery hindered him getting traded, which I think was kind of his last FU to the team. And rightly so. I mean, he's getting paid $25 million right now. I think the cap for the 49ers is probably around $5 million. They can't afford to give Deebo Samuel $19 million. They got to get rid of Jimmy Garoppolo's $25 million somehow. And at this point, he's probably saying, well, until that happens, I'm just going to stay in South Carolina or Los Angeles or go to a Warriors game or wherever the hell he wants to do. My biggest problem with Deebo is in the past when he has been injured and when he comes back, he always shows up. I know this is kind of funny me saying it. He always shows up fat. He shows up fat, out of shape. I mean, I've said it before. Manufactured touches was created because Deebo Samuel was fat and out of shape after his foot surgery.
Hey, man.
He couldn't get down. He couldn't get down the line. That's the thing. He couldn't get off.
Doesn't matter. He's still going to freaking ball.
I mean, he's still going to ball, but there's always going to be the chance that he gets injured. That year, he had more injuries than ever because he was out of shape.
Yeah.
He was missing multiple weeks because of soft tissue stuff rather than like, a broken bone.
Do you remember, your story reminds me of Carlos Williams. Remember who Carlos Williams was? Was it Carlos Williams?
Carlos Hyde?
No. He was a Buffalo Bills running back. And he was a freaking stud. His rookie season, he actually scored more touchdowns than LaShawn McCoy. And so people were going crazy for him in Dynasty, right?
Right.
Dude shows up to training camp 40 pounds overweight because his wife got pregnant. And he put on some sympathy weight, and he never played again.
Well, you know what? For anybody who doesn't know who Carlos Williams was, just like me, just remember Trent Richardson.
China food will do that to a man.
Oh, man. But it's just something to talk about at that point, because it's something we've seen in the past. I'm worried about him not only as a fantasy analyst, but as a 49er fan. Like, you're right. We don't win a playoff game without him. You're right. We're not even in the playoffs without him. He was our lifeblood last year. He was the constant. Every single game, there was a big play by Deebo. There was something that set something up. In the Packers game, it was the field goal off of his kick return.
Do you think we're too low, though? I mean, do you think we just forgot about that other guy, George Kittle? Did we forget about him?
Listen, George Kittle's a whole different story. I love George Kittle. I love me some George Kittle. Seeing him on Sundays is amazing as a 49er fan. But here is the thing about George Kittle, right? He gets lost in the blocking way too often, and that is because the 49ers do not have an established right tackle that's worth a damn. So he's constantly on that right side trying to make up for it. Now, here's the thing. I think with Trey Lance and now that elusive, nature that he has back there, I think that'll open up George Kittle a little bit more. And then, I guess there's Ayuk too. I don't know about you, but I've been getting myself a lot of Danny Gray at the back end of drafts too. I'm all in on Danny Gray. All the reporters are saying this man is lightning fast. We got Chardavius Ward coming out, freaking saying, yeah, this guy's going to be good. Like, come on, man. I'm all about this.
This all sounds like Trent Taylor to me.
Hey, Trent Taylor was good his first year. Slot receiver, baby.
I had him, and he literally sat on my roster. I think he gave me a high five once from the roster because he was doing nothing else on game days.
Hey, I'm sure you didn't lose many weeks, but I had Trent Taylor on one of my rosters, and I actually won a couple weeks because that man went off in PPR.
So someone tried telling me, I know we have limited time, so someone tried telling me that, I think it was Jeff Bell, who I respect, that Jamison Crowder is more likely to get cut than he is to be good. But people forget, Cole Beasley won me a title 2 years ago.
Yeah.
So that role in Buffalo is up for grabs. We'll get to it later. That's the dude I'm targeting. I mean, he's so freaking cheap. And I love the football guys, but man, I couldn't disagree more about this whole Jamison Crowder gate.
Yeah. I mean, with them, I like Jamison Crowder. He helped me get to a championship game 2 years ago. With
120 plus
the Bills,
targets.
though, there's so many questions at receiver right now. Is Gabe Davis really that good?
He's
What's
fine.
Khalil Shakir gonna be?
Dude, I don't.
Um,
Dude, every time you mention Khalil Shakir, put a penny in or put a quarter in your swear jar. I'm over this Khalil Shakir thing. It's not like we're not talking like
be
2019 when the
filthy rich
fucking
after
Bills
the end of
had.
this season.
Dude, no, we're not talking about 2019 when the Bills literally had to play, Isaiah McKenzie and who's the dude that's with the Giants now. He was a speed guy. Yeah, Robert Foster. I mean, these are dudes that like you bring on your team because you just need people that are like to fill specific roles, and you can fit them
You
on your
need a pulse.
roster because your roster is terrible. This is a roster that's built to win a Super Bowl. Khalil Shakir is more likely, in my opinion, to get bumped down to the practice squad than he is to overtake Jamison Crowder, who's been doing this for 5 years now.
Yeah, I mean, but he's also been on and off injured too. So
Okay,
there's always a door that can be
then they'll
opened, and
then they'll
then it will
call up
be
practice.
closed by
Then
rookie.
they'll call up practice squad Shakir. They also have Isaiah McKenzie. So Khalil Shakir 2024, not a presidential nomination, but a roster nomination. Khalil Shakir 2024. We can do it. There's your slogan.
That's right. That'll be the last year of his taxi squad eligibility. So keep him on there, guys. He's got you. But anyways, Justin, let's get into what we have in store for this episode for the fans. We're going to be talking our trades, and we're also going to be talking guys that we want to trade for and trade away. So I'm going to put up right now our trades, guys that we have been trading for. Let's see. So there it is. So we'll start off with yours. This beautiful set of trades. And I've actually been rather impressed. I looked at these trades. I was just like, Jesus Christ, who are you playing with and how can I get in these leagues? Because you are, I got one of your trades up twice, but you are doing real good, my friend here.
Yeah.
Let's look at this first trade. It's the repeat trade. But you trade away pick 5, pick 10 of the 2022 draft, your first next year and your first the year after. Really going hard into this season. I imagine you must have some sort of young players, or you're banking on trading these old guys when they get after a good season this year for more picks. And
So
you got Devontae Adams and DeAndre Swift back. So
I actually have 620. So it's a 14 team league. I have 2023 1 still on that squad. So I'm not worried about youth at all. And so the way I saw it was my quarterbacks Deshaun Watson and Zach Wilson. So that actually is going to pair down below with that other trade down below where I shipped off a 2 to get Tom Brady. I wanted to secure that quarterback spot. So I go with, I feel like I got to freaking just deuces here with Tom Brady and Deshaun Watson. I feel like those are 2 top 5 options. And then I paired DeAndre Swift with J.K. Dobbins. And then my receivers, I got, Terry McLaurin and Brandon Cooks. And then I have Kittle at tight end. And then the trade on the right. I went all in for a championship this year.
very nice. Very nice. I mean, so
DeAndre
you
Swift.
got Tom Brady for a second round pick.
Yeah, so people are right now worried that Tom Brady's going to play 1 year. He signed that deal with Fox. I kind of tried to capitalize on that. I'm not so sold that this is Tom Brady's last year. That deal is open ended with Fox. He's got 1 year left in Tampa. I think he wants to keep playing, and I think he's going to go play somewhere that's not in Tampa next year because he can't be franchise tagged. And I think Tom's going to play for probably 2 or 3 more years. So I would encourage everyone to offer their Tom Brady owner a 2. I've done that. I've had people ask me for a 1, and I'm like, I'm not giving a 1 for a 45-year-old quarterback. That's just, you got to play devil's advocate with yourself to make these trades work sometimes. But if I can get him for a 2, you're talking about a top 5 option for a team that can win now. And I'm doing that all day, every day. We're in a unique league right now where, that roster spot changes every year. So right now we have to play 2 quarterbacks, and I took Tom Brady in like the 8th round because it's like, even if it is 1 year, that spot's going to change next year. It's going to be a 3rd running back. We already drew for that. So, that's just kind of the way I approach things. It's, a lot of people are too, I think we've talked a lot, Justin, and you're very much into the, or I think you mentioned, you've gotten the hole where you're like, I'm going to go younger. And it's like, you can go younger all you want, but like, I'd rather just have really good old guys and then, try and win while also trying to keep my draft capital. Like, I know I got rid of the 1s up there, but you're talking about DeAndre Swift for 2 1s and then 2 1s for Devontae Adams, right? I mean,
Well,
I think,
and here's the thing. You have the security blanket of, you just said you have 6 2023 first, right?
yeah,
Outside of that 1, so did you have 7 or did you have 6? Now you have 5.
I have 5 now. Yeah, sorry. I
You
had
have
6
5
now. I
now.
have 5.
So you have plenty of blanket for the
And I
future.
still have I still kept 2024 1 in that deal. And then I also kept 102 in that same draft, which I traded down to 107 and 112.
So I've we just got into our first league together, and I've seen you've nabbed, I believe, 2 other people's 2023 first in for your picks this year. I think you did, one was a 7th and one was like a 10th or something like that. Straight exchange, if I'm remembering right.
Yeah,
Could have been.
so I traded down from 4 and I picked up a 6th round startup pick and a 1. And then I straight up traded a 6th round pick, which is about my range where I'm comfortable with. Giving up a 6th round pick because you suck and you took Zach Wilson, who was my target in the 6th. And so I swapped that out with a 23-1. And then I picked up a 23-2, 2 of them for, no, 3 of them actually, for my 9th pick, my 10th pick, and 11th pick. So,
Yeah. So
it's
my
going to
other
be a deep
question for
class.
you is, how are you expecting Zach Wilson to slide to the 6th?
That's actually his range. He's finished there every single league that I've done that.
Really?
Actually.
And Superflex?
Yes. Yep. He
Wow.
usually goes in the 6th. He's the most underrated quarterback in that class. People, I think, have cooled on Fields. I saw him going in the mocks. Early in the offseason, it was around the 2nd round, and now he's sliding to the mid 3rd, which now I'm going to say I'm comfortable with that, right? I will
I'm
not
not
spend
comfortable with that because I'm
with
not
a third.
comfortable with that situation.
With a third, though, the 3rd pick, I mean, you're talking your first 2 picks, you got to hammer those, right? But like
Yeah.
middle of the 3rd, like I was seeing him go as high as 112. So like middle of the 3rd, if you want to shoot your shot, fine. Shoot your shot in the 3rd, not at 112.
Listen, everybody in that draft class, I am more sure of, will have a better season than Justin Fields at this point.
Oh,
Justin Fields, I want no part of that stack. I am going to write an article about not wanting a part of that stack because this is a team that just has made no progress, has decided to rest on their laurels. And it's like, what are you doing? Like, you have money to improve your team. You had draft capital to improve your team.
They're going to draft a quarterback next year. That's what they're going to do.
And then your pick this year is going to be shit. Your 3rd round pick, but that's why I don't want to do it. Like I said, I feel comfortable drafting every other quarterback from that class in the third round
Justin Fields.
than I do than Justin Fields.
And if you followed us, we've been out on Fields from the get-go, and I've been ridiculed for that. And, you know, I'm not rooting against him. I have not.
It's just not a good spot. It really isn't.
It wasn't a good spot. He was going to a situation where the coach was obviously on a 1-year deal. I mean, he had to win. And, you know, I didn't love the arm talent. I think the Nerds took the articles down because of some copyright issues with the photos, but you know, I broke down the film and I did not love what I saw in film. I didn't understand people saying that he was the most accurate passer in the draft. That was by far Zach Wilson. And Zach Wilson
he was not the most accurate quarterback in that draft. Come on, get out of here.
Who do you think's the most accurate?
Seriously? The most accurate quarterback in that draft?
Oh yeah.
I think it had to definitely be either Lawrence. Lawrence or Jones.
Lawrence's arm was a little bit stronger. But Lawrence's problem was on film. It wasn't so much the accuracy. His main problem was that he was late on all his reads.
Yeah.
He was just late on all his reads, and he was relying on his arm strength to bail him out. But his arm strength is not Josh Allen, where Josh Allen's still late on reads, but his arm strength is just so freaking ridiculous that he can still get those throws off.
Yeah. I mean, it was Jones or Lawrence. Lawrence, like you said, he had problems with reads.
Mac Jones is a poor man's Kurt Warner. Kurt Warner's better in every category, but like he relies on timing and anticipation. Not so much, you know, can't get it done with the arm strength, but he knows where to put the ball to get his guy, you know, give him space.
Oh yeah, but that's what I'm saying. Like he's got more in between his ears than the rest of them. As far as maturation wise, he was ready to step up into the limelight. I mean, he had this amazing season. You know, he throws his wide receivers open, like you said, with timing and anticipation, and he doesn't have a bad arm. Like he's not a noodle arm.
His arm. Oh, I disagree.
He's got a good arm.
Go watch the Bills game. That dude, that should have been a touchdown. Instead, it was a pick on that first opening drive.
I mean, everybody misses. Come on.
That dude's arm is not. No.
He does not have a noodle arm. He is not noodle arm.
Dude does have a noodle arm. Dude, watch. He's gonna fall flat on his face this year, for numerous reasons. But dude, don't tell me he doesn't have a noodle arm. That dude had the biggest noodle arm I've seen go in the first round in some time.
That is some craziness.
And I just saw Kenny Pickett go. Give me Pickett over Mac.
All right. I'm done with your craziness. We're gonna move on to your trade up front, or up top to the right. You got Tyler Lockett, Juju Smith-Schuster, Connor, Goddard, and all you had to give up was Matt Stafford in a first.
Yeah, so I actually originally had 7 because I still have 5 first. But yeah, I mean, I just went all in. You know, the real prize of that, people will disagree with. I don't even love Juju. I mean, that was just kind of a throw in to me. Really wanted Goddard. I feel like people are trashing Lockett right now because of the situation there, which I get. But people forget that, like, before Mahomes and hell, before Alex Smith, do you remember who the hell Dwayne Bowe was?
Yeah, I remember Dwayne Bowe, Kansas City Chief.
Yeah. Do you remember how like awful the Chiefs were when we were growing up?
Oh yeah, but he would always have like 80 catch seasons with like fucking 10 touchdowns
because of garbage time. Because of garbage time.
Yeah, he was good.
That's what I'm expecting out of Tyler Lockett. I will buy up all the discounted Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf shares all I can because I know I'm going to get stats out of them. They're going to be losing all these games. Their best player is Kenneth Walker. You know, people are like, they're going to run the ball. They want 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 to run the ball. No, I don't have epilepsy, or not epilepsy, but whatever you want to call it, where I just say the same thing multiple times. No, they're not going to run the ball because by halftime, they're going to be down like 28-0, and they're going to have to pass the ball to try and keep up, and they're going to go to Tyler Lockett and DK Metcalf. And probably Noah Fant.
I think you are too dismissive of the illogical game planning of Pete Carroll. He will run the ball. He will run the ball. He does not give a damn. And here's my other thing, because I love Tyler Lockett too. I'm getting him everywhere. I think that he's going to be an efficient guy. I think they're going to somehow find a way to get them the ball, whether it's Geno Smith or Drew Lock. But most likely what it's going to be Drew Lock from the opening. And it's not them being down that worries me. It's Drew Lock throwing the ball that worries me. This guy has a great talent for finding the other team.
Still gonna get the ball.
I mean,
Dude,
can we
Tyler,
agree on that? Like he
we
is
can't, except
phenomenal
for
when it is
we can't,
finding the
except.
other safeties in the other corners. He is phenomenal. He lays it
But let
right
me,
in there for him.
but let me tell you, Dwayne Bowe put up those seasons with Tyler Thigpen, with Brody Croyle. Hell, Jackie Battle was like one of the running backs on the roster, who was a running back for a couple of years. Shout out to Jackie Battle. I'm
So
telling you,
here's my last thing to you. Dwayne Bowe and who else was there too?
Jamal Charles,
Exactly. A running back. So
Kenneth
now
Walker.
you have Lockett, you have
You're,
Metcalf.
you got Kenneth
And
Walker.
you have Noah Fant. You have options on a team that doesn't know how to feed them. I will take Lockett in best ball. I will take Lockett if he falls to me in the 11th round, which he has been doing. Look out for it. He falls really freaking hard.
Him and Nuke. I mean, you could go
Oh
hero
yeah,
running
Nuke.
back.
That's just criminal. The Nuke thing. You were talking about, 4 games for freaking Kamara, 6 games for Nuke, and he goes from being a 4th round pick to a 9th round pick.
Well, he broke
I got him in the 9th round.
He broke his leg and he had to be shot. So now we must punish him with going in the 10th round.
Yeah, I guess so. But
I mean, on this trade, I mean, I can't think of any piece. Listen, I love Stafford. I didn't want to lose Stafford because I actually had Stafford and Watson. So after that trade, I was like, well, fuck it. I lost Stafford. I'll go get Brady, right? That was kind of my thought process on that one. But I mean, James Conner is going to be good the 6 games that he's healthy. And again, I just love Dallas Goedert. We were supposed to have a guest who's an Eagles fan on here, and I was hoping he was going to clap for the Dallas Goedert love that I have, but I don't
know. Here, I'll give you a clap. Oh shit!
Now I feel like now I just feel like I'm getting a sympathy clap. I don't even want it anymore. Don't even want it.
I don't think that was a clap you wanted because it's all blue jerseys. So I'm assuming they're Giants fans, just blurred out. But anyways, if this is all linked into one team, then round of applause, because you did what everybody wants to do, and that's turn picks into wins. And instead of going out and grabbing a bunch of lottery tickets, you said, fuck it, I'm going to go grab the sure things and I'm going to go win a championship. And that's what I look at this culmination of trades, and I see somebody who wants to go win a championship, but is also solely focused on getting his team better through the draft as well. Because if you have 5 first-round picks next year in a loaded quarterback draft, a good running back, or loaded running back draft as well, you're going to be just fine when you lose Tom Brady and when James Conner falls completely off a cliff.
And I have Zach Wilson. And I have Davis Mills.
And you have Zach Wilson, and you have Davis Mills. Okay, so mine don't look so pretty, but I'll give you the rundown based on it. It looks on one offer was I got James Robinson, Davis Mills, a first-round pick, and a second-round pick this year. I traded away Austin Eckler. I traded away Dallas Goedert. Those I've been making trades to kind of get my team out of a bind. This team in particular has been, I had Sam Darnold, Drew Lock, Teddy Bridgewater as my quarterbacks. So I needed to get some sort of relief and some sort of help. And last year, my guys were Cooper Kupp and Austin Eckler. Those were what really kept me afloat and got me 3rd place last year. So, I kind of did something, and, I'm in on Eckler, but I don't see the long-term value of him. I think, they've been trying to get somebody in.
Yeah, I think this is his last season of relevance. He'll have a good season this season. I totally am with you. I wish you hadn't sent Goddard. The only thing I'll critique you on is I like Robinson, but gosh, that Achilles.
It's scary. It's scary.
I hope that you take Snoop Conner in the 4th. I mean, as we talked about earlier,
I
Robinson's
got him
good,
as a
but if
UDF.
okay, that's perfect.
Yeah.
I draft him. I kind of, Z at Football Guys was talking about him, but as we talked about before the draft, I was kind of going to be in on whoever went there at running back because I felt like for sure they were going to draft one, right? So
Right.
Robinson could be good. He's just got to get healthy. I love everything else you did. Who'd you have you haven't made it to 209 yet?
Oh no, 209. I'm sorry, this is an old picture. 209, I got fudge. Oh, I got Trey McBride to
Okay.
make up for Goddard.
Yeah.
Which
Yeah,
was
I love Pickett and I love Mills. So I'll say it's a pretty even trade.
And then the next trade is actually linked in with the next one. So, like I said, I kind of just gave a lot of assets to get more assets. With this one, I traded away Russell Wilson. I got Zach Wilson back. I got Chase Edmonds, and I got the 203, which I used on Damian Pierce to kind of put some more, gas in my stable, in my running back stable. And then the last trade that I did was actually a trade that I did in a startup. And I traded my 403 pick for 411 and a 2023 first, which I thought was the absolute steal because, I will all day move 8 slots down if I get a first round pick in next
Hey,
year.
you gave up Justin Fields you gave up a bust for 2 picks. Man, I hope that the people that like Justin Fields don't find my house and throw rocks at me because I'm not nice to Justin Fields. We all, if he ever guests on our show, his name is Justin. We should probably be nice to him. He has the same name as us.
I mean, yeah, of course. And I want signed jerseys and stuff. You know what? I really like Justin Fields going into last year. But
See,
I realized that Bears situation is so irredeemable at this point, and they are just making it worse by taking away parts that I'm completely out. Everybody's on the Cole Kmet train, and I was on the Cole Kmet train last year,
yeah, I was
and I'm
last year,
like,
and
no, I'm done. I'm not going to take it
I'm on the
because this
Bears.
guy just did not succeed in everybody's like, there's going to be positive regression in touchdowns. I'm like, well, no shit, but it doesn't mean he's going to get 10 touchdowns if he got 0 last year. I mean,
How
if
can
he
there
gets
be a positive
4,
regression on touchdowns when I know that everyone wants to slam Nagy, like Nagy didn't do well last year, but like, what the hell's Matt Eberflus gonna do?
a defensive coach.
Yeah, that's what I'm saying. Like, what the hell is
Yeah.
he gonna do? But, I mean, I will point out though, when your trade earlier with Edmonds, or not Edmonds, but you said Damian Pierce. As we get into guys that we're targeting, I find myself really in on Marlon Mack. I feel like he's worth a third, and Mack was good with the Colts, and I just feel like he still has some juice. And I think week 1 to maybe week 6, until Pierce proves it, kind of feel like Marlon Mack's the guy.
So I have no problem with that. My thing with Damian Pierce is I think regardless if Marlon Mack is your workhorse back, I think Pierce is going to get a lot of the goal line touches. And that's just because of the back that he is. I mean, he is a big, ferocious guy that you do not want to hit. Like college players proved they did not want to hit this man. Like he bounced off like Javonte Williams bounced people off. So I actually welcome the idea of Marlon Mack being one of the guys there to split carries because that just keeps Pierce healthy for goal line carries. And I'm all for that. I'm all for Damian Pierce. Get as many goal line carries as you can because this is going to be an offense that is going to have very few opportunities. I mean, the talent's just not there. I mean, I'm a believer in Davis Mills, but I'm also somebody that looks at an offense just the same way I would look at like a fantasy roster, and their offense is all young down the line, like from the offensive line to the tight end, Brevin Jordan, our pick last year, Nico Collins, They've got Brandon Cooks is the vet, but they got Dameon Pierce at running back. They've got Davis Mills. Second, first year players run that team right now. It doesn't look like it's going to be a great outcome for them. So I'm going to look at it like this. If he gives me 6 to 8 touchdowns next year, he's going to be worth that second round pick.
Yeah.
And I think he could definitely do that with the opportunities he's going to be allotted on the goal line.
The guy I'm taking every time where have you seen Pickett go? Or not Pickett, but
Pickens?
Pickens, yeah.
I've been seeing Pickens go. I missed out on Pickens at 210 in one of the drafts I was doing.
You'll laugh. I took him at 108 in one draft.
No, I'm not gonna laugh. I like the talent. I was on a hosting space with Debro from Fantasy Pros, and he made a very compelling argument for being able to use all 3 of them. And that would be like using Claypool in the slot. And it made me have a rejuvenated look at Claypool. So I'm like, yeah, they can actually get Claypool to be mature, which I know Tomlin can. He would be an absolute monster in the slot. And then you could have Pickens to stretch the field, and you can have Deontay to be your possession receiver.
That's why I said I'm taking Pickett over Fields all day in redrafting and Dynasty.
Yeah, we're going to find out. We're definitely going to find out what Pickett's all made of. And
so do you have any last-second trade targets? The only ones I'll mention are the ones we talked about, and Henderson and, Madison are the guys I'm targeting. So,
Zach Wilson. It's a talk with the guy that has Zach Wilson in your league. For some reason, I know you're the guy that has him. But
except where you stole him.
And you decided to make a league and invite me to be in it. But anyway, Zach Wilson, I have gotten him for, decent price, especially considering this has all the writings of a breakout year for him. I mean, he's got all the potential in the world, and he's got all the talent around him. This is a guy who could be at his lowest price right now. And it's all based off of everybody thinking he sucks. I mean, I thought he sucked last year, but I mean, at this point, he would be an irredeemable talent if he sucks bad with all of this like gold around him. So I'm gonna, say straight up.
As bad as he looked, I mean, teams don't typically put all that stuff around their quarterback if they think that he sucks. That's the thing.
Yeah, exactly. And Tua, but I think he's way better than Tua. I think he's going to have a great year this year, and you'd be surprised. Go talk with the Zach Wilson owner. A lot of these guys are, for the right price, they're willing to get rid of him, and I think that, and I've gotten him in quite a few leagues at this point, and I think that I've built my future pretty well. Trey Lance is a guy that I'm trying to trade away, especially with all the news of Jimmy Garoppolo being traded and stuff. His value is just so high right now. People are dying to have a chance to trade for Trey Lance, and so I'm going to give him that chance. How about you?
Trade away guys?
Yeah, one trade away guy and one trade for.
Yeah, so I am trying to trade for Deebo Samuel. I still think he's an elite talent. Can get it done numerous ways, and he's falling way too, he was one of the best receivers last year. And guys that I'm okay trading away, to toss up between Matt Stafford and Dalvin Cook, obviously. I'm okay with dealing away Dalvin Cook. I think he's reaching the end of his usefulness, and I think Madison's going to, I think we're going to see more Madison than we've seen in the past this year.
It's fair enough. All right. Well, that was another great episode. As always, guys, Justin and Justin here signing out, and stay frosty, everybody.